Hi everyone, so I'm Japanese, born and raised in Japan, and I started living abroad for the first time in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, when I was 19 because I went to college there. And I realized that Dutch society is way more open and less judgmental about women showing their bodies in public and also, wearing revealing clothes.
The lawsuit alleges that Gaga got greedy by inflating the shipping cost and pocketing the extra, and refusing to disclose how much of the $5 actually goes to the Japanese victims.
There's this concept in Japan called utsukari otoko, and these men physically attack women deliberately but try to make it look like they accidentally bump into those women. Some men were even arrested, as they should be. I mean, if they have to do this, they must hate women so much. Who hurt you?
But it is also important that we remind the world that Japan is now safe and that the doors are wide open for tourists from all over the world to come in and enjoy the beautiful country.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel here. It's me here, Comrade Lavender here, and today I'm back with another anti-capitalism deep dive true crime YouTube video topic. Today I want to do the topic of pure evil, the Japan files, deep dive capitalism and true crime, etc. People need to stop fetishizing Japan, and travel influencers are lying about it being a paradise. Disclaimer, I wanted to make this video because I've been seeing so much crazy stuff when it comes to this country that is Japan, and influencers doing problematic stuff on social media and glamorizing Japan as this all perfect luxury vacation paradise. The whole thing reminds me of when Instagram influencers glamorize a country known as Dubai in the Middle East and say it's so awesome for vacations and stuff, when it's a country that's skyscrapers and cities built on, and the whole country is built on slavery. So I want to make this video, so let's get started in this YouTube video topic. But before we get started, all my YouTube videos that relate to this topic will be on the screen right now if you'd like to check them out. So let's get started in this YouTube video topic.
Let's check out Canopio's Cafe and Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Osaka. Got the Princess Peach's Cake, which I'll get to in a minute, Superstar Lemon Squash, Gretton Hamburg Steak, which is pretty good, a Coca-Cola, mushroom soup with the best soup bowl ever, right? Teriyaki chicken and Superstar Rice, which is probably my favorite entree.
Are you real?
A group of Korean Americans in New Jersey is urging Tokyo to stop using the rising sun flag, which remains as a symbol of the country's colonialism and the war crimes it committed during World War II. Song Ji-sun has the story.
This monument in Palisades Park, New Jersey, is dedicated to comfort women forced into sexual slavery during Japan's colonialization of Korea. On Thursday, it was the site of a protest by a group of Korean Americans from the New York, New Jersey area who are condemning Japan for its use of the rising sun flag. The group asserts that the war crimes committed by Japan are no different from what the Nazis did during the Holocaust, and demands the country stop displaying its rising sun flag, which was the military flag used by Japan until the end of World War II.
Japanphilia, a fine line between fascination and fetishization. A story of someone who went to Japan. A boy scoffed, "Sorry, I only date Japanese girls." They stared back at him in a state of shock. He can't be serious. Still bewildered by their brief exchange and incident, they had shared it with their Czech Japanese friend, who explained that this encounter was only part of a much larger pattern of problematic cultural appropriation and fetishization. Its origins can be traced back to the horrific true crime stories of Japanese comfort women during World War II who were sex slaves to the Japanese imperialist military, and have since embedded itself in society through stereotypes, books, movies, operas, and musicals like Madama Butterfly, and Miss Scalgan, both of which have problematic romances between Asian women and American men. But it's gone far beyond the sexual fetishization. It's seeped itself out into mainstream society in the form of cultural obsession. In the mid-1990s, Japanese entertainment really began to trickle across the ocean in the form of anime comics, or manga, or the Japanese candy kit obsession of the early 2010s. TV series and video games such as Super Mario Bros., Sailor Moon, Pokemon, Hamtaro, Dragon Ball Z, etc., all establishing large fan bases globally and grossing billions of dollars worldwide. Japanese entertainment was everywhere, culminating with Avril Lavigne's 2013 music video for her song called Hello Kitty, in which Japan started to become trendy in the mainstream in the West, in which she parades through Tokyo indulging in Japanese sushi and repeatedly singing kawaii, which means cute in Japanese. In response to the natural backlash, she wrote on Twitter saying, "Racist, LOL, I love Japanese culture and have spent half my life in Japan. The image of Japan has become superficial to the subject of fetishization as an exotic and other outwardly country. This has led to the rise of a new phenomenon, Japanophilia. The category of Westerners infatuated with Japanese entertainment emerge, often dressing in ways to reflect Japanese anime or liking things simply because they are Japanese. Weibus are people who are unhealthy obsessed with anime and in general Japanese culture to the extreme degree. You literally have uneducated people and ignorant influencers getting racist tattoos of Japan's rising sun, which is a racist symbol. The rising sun is for Imperial Japan. They believed in Japanese superiority and ethnic cleansing. Japan targeted Chinese and Korean women when it came to the comfort women war crimes in history. Many people in Korea, China, and other Asian countries say the rising sun flag is associated with Japan's wartime war crime atrocities and is comparable to World War II Nazi Germany swastika. The Japanese Imperial Navy used the flag in the early 20th century as Japan colonized the Korean Peninsula and invaded and occupied parts of China and other Asian countries until its defeat in World War II in 1945. An influencer and American singer-songwriter and rapper known as Jalen Aiko is mixed Japanese, and she got a rising sun tattooed removed because it's racist and looked extra crazy on her. And then there was another woman who on Twitter got a whole entire back piece of the rising sun tattooed on her back permanently, and she started getting massive backlash on Twitter about it, so she deleted the post. Do people not do research? What the fuck? Before they even put it on their bodies permanently, the ignorance is astounding. One quick Google search and the meaning of the rising sun from Japan comes up. Why anyone would want to tattoo this on their bodies is crazy, honestly. And it's not just influencers either. It's capitalism companies commodifying the racist symbol and making money off of it. In a shameful display, there was an article that said a campaign to stop companies' use of Japan's rising sun racist flag. Seo Kanga-duk, a professor at Sungshin's Women's University who's considered an expert in promoting South Korea, has launched a campaign to ask companies to stop using the design of Japan's controversial racist rising sun flag. He wrote on his Facebook page that he sent emails and letters to more than 10 multinational companies that use the rising sun flag design to inform them of the flag's racist origins and meanings and to request that they please stop using it. These companies included Skull Candy, a U.S. company selling sound equipment, Brian, a British hamburger chain that sells a hamburger called Bunzilla, Billy Bong, a Australian company selling surfing apparel, Bellati, an Italian company making coffee machines, and Acidics, a Japanese sports apparel brand that is a sponsor of the Tokyo Olympics. The emails that he sent these companies contained an explanation of what the rising sun flag means and why it is so offensive, an advertisement that he ran in the New York Times calling for people to stop using the design, and a video produced in English.
Hi you guys, so I'm gonna try to show you how to make ordinary pigtails into little heart shapes. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you in a second. I also think this hairstyle looks really cute from the front because it looks like I got some little barriers going on, but yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
さん生って今のツイッターの気持ちです。
そうですよね。自分でね髪やったり、ファッション考えたりとか全部。
はい、全部自分でやります。
17歳ですけど。
そうだよね。で1年前に来てこんだけ日本語が喋ることができて、ファッションリーダーになるよこれは。
ありがとう。ファッションのこといろいろ聞きたいんですけど、話したいから日本語で書いた方がいいと思います。
その通りです。言葉なんだ。ほら。
Japanphilia in mainstream culture went a little undercover. Take Iris Law, for example, a model influencer and prize Nepo baby, who I would argue subscribes to this Japanophilia. Law spends large portions of the year in Japan exploring local food and culture and sharing her experiences on Instagram. Recently, she even participated in traditional tea tasting composition, Toja, documenting her involvement and laughing at her terrible guesswork. While this might seem innocent, it borders on a fine line between genuine appreciation and exotifying Japanese culture as a cool accessory. Law's fascination has become part of her brand. She appeared on the cover of Vogue Japan and in British Vogue in an article titled From Mulberry Bags to Kawaii Cakes. Iris Law shows us around her Tokyo. There's an undeniable undertone of arrogance in the piece as she gushes over cute details like the amazing taxis. She jokes about shipping back to London. It's a perfect example of how Japanese culture is commodified and often emphasized for Western audiences, serving as a backdrop for personal branding rather than genuine engagement. And then you have loud cows and people like Dakota Rose, otherwise known as Koda Koki, Kiki Cannibal's slightly younger sister, originally from Orlando, Florida, born in 1993, who used to be a popular scene kid and alt scene queen during the MySpace days. Back then, Dakota had frizzy, damaged, dyed scene hair, multiple piercings, including snakebite piercings, who engages in Japanphilia as well. For a while, she became famous all over the world as the Barbie doll girl trend blew up. Mainly in South Korea and Japan, she got famous for her catfish photos. Her unrealistically large photoshopped eyes with circle lenses and photoshopped whole face drew lots of attention worldwide, especially in Asian countries. She appeared not only on Japanese TV, but also on the popular Korean makeup program Get It Beauty. She was a fashion model in Japan for a few amount of years and was really relevant. She was constantly criticized for catfishing her photos because she looked nothing on how she looked like in real life, and people think she capitalized off Japanese and Asian culture. When she was younger, she gained infamy for being homophobic and racist, as the fact that she had been making disparaging remarks and racist comments about the Asian community in the past. When they started mocking Asians, I drew the line. I used to be a huge fan of both her and Kiki Cannibal, the scene queens, and her and her sister before their true colors really came out, and I couldn't sit there and be a fan of someone who would openly say such hateful things.
Japan has an incredible tolerance for the sexual exploitation of young girls.
If somebody asked you what your job description was, what would you tell them?
女子高生とお話ができるお店。なんかそこから軽い気持ちで始めたら、どんどんヒートアップしちゃったって感じです。
売る少女が悪い。
K stands for Joshi Kusei, or high school girl, and along this strip, they're everywhere. Not shopping or hanging out like schoolgirls in Tokyo typically do, but selling various services, Everything from fortune telling to massages to a walk with a client around the neighborhood.
There's many, many variations. It's a business opportunity, and it can be a form of human trafficking, as the State Department indicated in their last white paper on it.
The report, an annual review of human trafficking in Japan, singled out the JK walking dates, saying they are often fronts for underage prostitution.
Behind the neon-lit streets and bustling train stations, millions of Japanese citizens are fighting a daily battle against an insidious foe, depression. Imagine a country where success is measured not just by achievements, but by the hours spent pursuing them. This is the reality for many in Japan, where the culture of overwork has deep roots stretching back to the post-World War II era. The economic miracle that transformed Japan into a global powerhouse came at a steep price: the mental health of its people. In 2023, Japanese workers clocked an average of 1,636 hours annually, a number that tells only part of the story. The true toll is measured in lives lost to karoshi, death by overwork, and the rising tide of depression that sweeps through offices, schools, and homes across the nation. The pressure begins early in life, with Japan's fiercely competitive education system setting the stage for a lifetime of stress. Young students face intense pressure to excel, knowing that their performance in school can determine their entire future. This academic rat race seamlessly transitions into the corporate world, where long hours and minimal time off are seen as badges of honor. A recent government survey revealed a shocking statistic. 1 in 10 Japanese workers puts in more than 80 hours of overtime per month, placing them at risk of karoshi. But the story of Japan's battle with depression isn't just about long working hours. It's a complex tapestry woven from cultural expectations, societal norms, and a reluctance to seek help. The concept of gammon, enduring hardship without complaint, is deeply ingrained in the Japanese psyche.
And sleeping 30 minutes or 1 hour, then going back. Sometimes I had a nap in the bathroom, so that I could not be found by my boss or colleagues.
Even when I finish the 11 p.m., I will get on the train again for 1 hour. But the situation is the same as the morning. All of us feel the stress. No one is waiting for me. The room is dark. Just sleeping without having dinner. And continue keeping the same day from next day.
Shocking facts about the Yoshiwara Pleasure District in Japan. Yoshiwara was a famous red light district in Edo, which is modern-day Tokyo. It was established in 1617 and quickly became the most well-known pleasure district in Japan. Many of the women, known as yujo, were sold into the district by their families, often due to poverty or to pay off debts. Harsh conditions and the spread of diseases like syphilis were rampant, leading to severe health problems for many yujo. The age-maki, or a yujo's first night with a client, was sold for a high price, but it was a significant burden for the women. In Yoshiwara, there was a secret method called the crossing boat. It was used to sneak yujo out of the district, which was surrounded by moats. If caught, severe punishments awaited. Unpopular yujo received few client requests and lived in poverty. They were often mistreated even more if they couldn't attract customers.
I'm Japanese and I grew up in Japan. My parents used to make me go to karate lessons when I was an elementary school student because they were so worried that I was being bullied by other kids in school. They always told me to fight back, hit them back, instead of telling me it's okay, it's not my fault that I was being bullied. Victim blaming is everywhere. It's not just about sexual assault, it's everywhere. And if you ever see a kid or anyone who's being bullied, please go ahead and tell them it's not your fault. You did nothing wrong. It sounds like something simple and basic, right? Well, but unfortunately, many adults don't get that. So yesterday, I found an Instagram account where they only interview Japanese women. And I know exactly why they only interview Japanese women. It just leads to more views. Capitalism. Simple as that. And they might be like, we are aware that Japanese girls are so cute and popular and exotic to Westerners, and our content is in English, which means men all over the world will love our content. Hooray! You know, it's actually true that it's good for business to show more women than men, or just women.
During sunny days in Japan, you'll see lots of people holding umbrellas to shield themselves from the sun. Is this to avoid a tan or to block harmful UV rays? Pale skin has been a beauty standard in Asia for more than 1,000 years, not because of Western influence. Historically, pale skin was a sign of the upper class because they did not do manual labor in the sun. Nowadays, some people use whitening creams and alter their skin tones using apps. And let's be honest, some aunties say some very unhinged things about skin color.
In 5 years, she's notched up more than 50 films. But Japanese actress Saki Kozai still regrets the day she started out in the porn industry. Then, just 24 years old, she joined an agency that promised work in promotional videos. But on her first day, Kozai discovered she was required to have sex on camera. According to campaigners, Kozai is one of many young women who, dreaming of a career in TV or modeling, fall prey to unscrupulous agents and end up in porn.
Between January 2016 and July 2016, 162 women have consulted us. This is not a small number, but we think it is only the tip of the iceberg.
The Japanese porn industry is worth several $1 billion a year and churns out some 30,000 films annually. An association of producers recently condemned all instances of abuse of trust. But former porn star Mariko Kawana says that more can be done and is calling for industry-wide reform.
The Dark Side of Japan, a glimpse beyond the surface and why people should stop trying to portray Japan as this vacation luxury, glamorous paradise. Japan, often seen as a utopian land of endless beauty, tradition, and futuristic innovation, holds a deeper, more unsettling dark reality beneath its pristine surface. The cherry blossoms, the neon-lit streets, and the red-light districts, the captivating culture, obscures the struggles and hidden darkness that many choose to ignore. While Japan is extraordinary in many ways, it also harbors a land haunted by the psychopathic system known as capitalism, unspoken pain, repression, and invisible wounds. Hentai porn addictions. To the outside world, Japan's obsession with hentai, Japanese porn, might seem like just another quirky aspect of its pop culture, but for many, it becomes deeply ingrained porn addiction with dire consequences. Hentai, often rooted in violent or degrading depictions of women, is one of the primary catalysts for a growing prevalence of true crime cases involving and against women in Japan. The genre, which blurs the lines between fantasy and reality, feeds into the cycle of objectification and dehumanization. The allure of these fantasies distorts perceptions, turning women into just mere objects to be used for male pleasure, often stripping them of their agency and humility and integrity. Porn in general, and the porn industry, is an evil capitalism industry overall, and this includes online porn sites such as OnlyFans as well. This addiction becomes and creates a dangerous disconnect where sexual violence against women become more acceptable in the minds of some, influenced by the betrayal of women in these explicit, magazines, comics, mangas, and, hentai, animated porn, as well as actual porn itself. It becomes a justification for abuse, fueling a disturbing increase in true crime cases as sexual assault, harassment, and even sex trafficking. The normalization of this harmful perspective, largely propagated by the porn industry, fosters a culture in which the dignity and safety of women are routinely compromised on a daily basis. It is not just a niche, a subculture, it's a reflection of a deeper societal issues that are ignored or dismissed. A troubling byproduct of this culture is widespread fetishization of women, especially foreign women. The perception of women from other cultures, often objectified as exotic and submissive, is amplified in both media and society through various videos and accounts. They've heard firsthand how foreign women are often reduced to mere stereotypes, viewed as fetishes, something to be used or collected rather than respected. The overt sexualization of women in the media, combined with the objectifying gaze that foreign women endure in public spaces, fosters a deeper alienation. It turns relationships into power dynamics where one's identity is reduced to a stereotype, creating uncomfortable and even dangerous interactions. This fetishization extends beyond the realm of personal relationships. It has led to the increased exploitative behaviors, with foreign women sometimes finding themselves the target of harassment, manipulation, or even human trafficking. This impact has psychological, as it forces individuals to constantly battle with their own sense of identity and their self-worth in the eyes of society that sees them as little more than a spectacle commodity. Japan redefines rape and raises age of consent in a landmark move. The definition of rape was broadened to non-consensual sexual intercourse from forcible sexual intercourse, aligning Japanese law's definition with other countries. The legal age of consent in Japan, previously at only 13 years old, has been raised to 16 years old. Previous laws did not protect those coerced into having sex or deterred reporting of such attacks, critics say. Previously, Japan had one of the lowest ages of consent among developed nations. However, a person who's had sex with a minor aged 13 to 15 will be punished only if the person is 5 or more years older than the minor. It follows multiple rape acquittals and trials in 2018 that caused international outcry that helped spur a nationwide #MeToo movement, Flower Demo campaign against sexual violence. On the 11th day of every month since April 2019, activists had gathered throughout Japan to demand justice and show solidarity and support with sexual assault survivors. Is Japan turning a blind eye to pedophilia? There's a street in Tokyo known as JK Alley, or Skull Girl Alley, from the Japanese Yoshi Kusuki, meaning high school girl. Their teenagers in school uniforms sell their time to passers-by, while their minders hover in the background. Men pay to hold hands, to go for walks, or to have a cup of coffee with the girls. Some even pay to sleep on a girl's lap. This is all legitimate, above board, and legal. Japan is also home to 300 JK cafes, where adult men pay to hang out with underage girls. And it's all perfectly legal. In the new BBC 3 documentary, Young Sex for Sale in Japan, Stacey Dooley visits a JK cafe in Tokyo. In this bar, £35 will get you 40 minutes with a girl of your choice and unlimited alcohol and booze, she says. In some of the cafes, men can also pay for walking dates, with time for girls away from the cafe. What happens in that time is up to the girls and their clients. One customer, Stacy, his favorite girl, a 17-year-old with long light brown hair and a thick fringe. He likes her because she's good at talking dirty, but she pretends to be pure and innocent. It is estimated that nearly 5,000 genuine schoolgirls work in these legal cafes in Japan. Until 2014, child pornography was legal to own in Japan. The law has changed, but the sexualization of minors continues to this very day. Domestic sales of manga comics topped over 2 billion in Japan in 2015. Lolicon, short for Lolita Complex, is the Japanese term for manga and anime featuring sexually explicit images of children. It can involve extreme violence, rape, and incest. Comics with these type of abusive images have been banned in the UK, and the Japanese government tried to ban these images too, but artists and publishers resisted this, external on the grounds of free speech. The beauty standards in Japan are suffocating, a relentless pursuit of perfection that leaves little room for individuality. Women in particular are expected to embody an almost outwardly standard of beauty, thin, youthful, and very demure. The mental toll it takes is immeasurable. Women battling eating disorders, severe body dysmorphia, and crippling low self-esteem issues. The expectation to be flawless and perfect in every sense has seeped into the very fabric of daily life, from the fashion industry to job markets, where a woman's worth is often measured by her appearance rather than her actual abilities. There is a victim-blaming normalization in Japan. A controversial video made by YouTube star Logan Paul shows a body hanging from a tree in Japan's forests, known throughout the country for the suicides that happen there. The video sparked worldwide outrage and backlash for its allegedly tone-deaf treatment of suicide victims and mental health in a country where suicide rates are higher than most in the developed world. Individuals who've shared their silent battles with mental health, knowing that seeking help in Japan is considered a weakness in Japan. The stigma surrounding mental illness is so profound that it drives many people to take their own lives in silence in Japan. The harsh reality that Japan's culture of perfection leaves no room for failure, and those who fall short often find themselves at the mercy of society that offers little compassion for their pain. Japan is regarded as a country with low gender equality and low women's participation in the workplace. Even though the Japanese government has strived to tackle this issue for over 3 decades straight, Japan still has not been able to shake off its unequal treatment of gender. Gender equality is often attributed to Japan's entrenched and outdated cultural beliefs. Few studies shine light on the capitalistic factors which intersect with cultural causes such as patriarchy and the explanation of the unfair treatment of women in the Japanese workplace environments. Japan grueling working hours. Officially, Japan has a 40-hour work week, but 22% of the workforce works 50 hours or more per week, and some workers put in even more. 100-hour work weeks do exist, including Saturdays and some Sundays. That does not even account for the commute, which on average takes 40 minutes one way, but 2 hours is also not exceptional. It also does not include the frequent and almost mandatory drinking parties after work. Fortunately, at least in the last aspect is changing, and many younger employees decline to join or request overtime pay if it is mandatory. The average Japanese uses only 7 of the 18 vacation days every year. 17% of workers take no holiday at all. The society sees taking holidays as abandoning the company. On first impression, as a tourist seeing the limelights in Japan, it could be easy to be misled that Japanese people must be rich. Everything from the delicious food and cuisine to the iconic vending machines to automated toilets is beautiful, perfect, and modern. However, digging deeper, it becomes shockingly apparent that many Japanese people are on the slow descending flight into poverty. Manga cafes are cheap little box-like facilities that have a computer, drinks, and even showers for people who go there to read manga and chill out. However, a lot of people in Japan are actually living at these cafes and are homeless. They wake up and get dressed in business attire and went to work. Some of these people may have been stranded travelers, but the amount of them and routine that they went about their day seemed to make it clear that many were working part-time jobs seeking an existence. If you leave big cities like Tokyo, or even the bright neon Manga districts of Shibuya, you quickly realize Japan is dying. Entire cities have become shutter cities, where all the shops are shuttered closed due to lack of business. Small businesses cannot compete with the modern chain stores and restaurants around train stations, so they're being squeezed of their life. Basically, capitalism cannibalization. Japan's politeness is legendary, but beneath the surface lies an uncomfortable truth. Racism is rampant. How subtle and sometimes not so subtle racism can manifest on daily interactions, from being denied housing due to nationality to being excluded from social circles. There's an invisible barrier that separates foreigners from true integration into Japanese society. The discrimination often is insidious, woven into the fabric of everyday life in ways that leave many people questioning whether they'll ever truly belong in Japan. You hear horror stories about foreign women, maternity experiences in the hospitals, like being scolded for not knowing Japanese, being rejected by hospitals due to the language barrier, or having to decipher complex paperwork. Japan prides itself on being a harmonious society, yet this reputation often comes at the cost and expense of transparency. Many crimes, especially those involving corruption, exploitation, and abuse, are concealed behind closed doors, behind a curtain. The dark underbelly and dark side of Japan, whether it's thriving underground world of human trafficking, or the exploitation of vulnerable women, or the wildlife trade, like the otters and animal cafes, and much more, is carefully swept under the rug. Through various accounts shared by locals and foreigners alike, it's clear that exposing such uncomfortable truths threatens the very fabric of the nation's self-image. Also, when it comes to tourism in Japan,
Mount Fuji is one of Japan's most iconic landmarks, and in recent years, social media has made photographing it even more popular. But that's created a bit of a problem for residents of Fujikawa, Guchiko, a town with an incredible view which is being swamped by millions of tourists. Residents have now decided they've had enough, and to keep the selfie crowds away, they're taking the unlikely step of putting up a huge barrier to block the view.
Japan is not your Candyland. Near Mount Fuji, there lies a magical convenience store. Above it, a perfect frame shot for the nation's most popular mountain. Too bad you won't be able to get that Instagram-worthy pic anymore, because apparently they set up an 8-foot-high mesh net to block the view. And that's because this tourism spot has become so popular that visiting tourists visiting the country illegally park their cars on the side of the road, toss out their garbage all over the ground, and even climb onto a nearby dental clinic's roof to get a better picture. Locals have had enough, but people putting up the net have said they will take it down if the situation improves. This is why we can't have nice things. The recent flood of tourism is helpful to Japan, but in many ways, unintended consequences are making life difficult for some locals.